All right, we've got a few minutes here before 5 p.m. on the East Coast on Wednesday, July 5th. Go over sports algorithms. I did update WNBA and I also did baseball. I haven't touched soccer. I just can't. I only got so much I can spend time on, but we're going to quickly go through WNBA and then go through baseball. Impossible betting day today for WNBA. Two humongous favorites and terrible, terrible, terrible lines. And then this will just be fun to watch these games. Lynx and Sparks are more injured than their opponents, the Fever and the Dream, and the margins are close and the lines are barely favored. This is a coin flip night if I've ever seen one on these two games. So very, very, very difficult night on betting WNBA. Probably watch it and enjoy it, but I can't recommend anything other than like you're probably gonna go 3-1 on this list, winning probably the Aces, probably winning with the Liberty, even though Brittany Griner is playing again. She's tall. I was at the Basketball Hall of Fame in Springfield, Mass, Naismith Place, whatever, on Monday. They have a silhouette of her. She's tall. She's playing. And down here, it's going to be either one of these teams, like really, really tough day. So let's just go over to baseball because WNBA, I was just like saddened after I finished it because it's not going to give you really anything good to bet on. As for baseball, so baseball, we're looking for teams with higher margins. I did the legwork and ran the macro, which gives you another list of teams in order based on average margins of all the 499 different stat combinations we throw together. So it's really these four big ones: Minnesota, Detroit, Houston, Toronto. Houston is, I believe, winning or has almost won at this point against Colorado. I'll double check. But anyway, so you get this list, and one thing you can see is that Toronto's only minus 118. So in terms of games with big margins that have reasonable lines, that's there. They are away, but I don't know who's pitching for the White Sox. Take a look at that. Says the White Sox do not score on Barrios, and Lance Lynn gives up a lot, and this is a very reasonable line for that. So Toronto team runs, Toronto winning that game is pretty reasonable. These are bad lines. The Minnesota's a bad line. Detroit's a bad line here. Dodgers are a bad line against Pittsburgh as well, who I remember Pittsburgh like continually sweeping the Dodgers a couple of years ago. And it was like, why does this happen? It's a weird team that LA has trouble beating. I think Pittsburgh won last night as well at an underdog line. So scary bad lines here. But you got Atlanta over Cleveland that blew one last night, but that line's not great. Then you have Texas over Boston. That's not a bad line. Then you have an underdog of Seattle over San Francisco. They did it last night. Chicago over Milwaukee, which I believe they won barely in extra innings last night. St. Louis and Miami. San Diego again over the Angels, who just keep injuring people. Washington over Cincinnati at home tonight, if it doesn't thunderstorm. I heard some of that. I think it was. Yankees over Baltimore, Arizona over the Mets, and Tampa Bay over Philadelphia. So there are three underdogs on here. Let's look into the Seattle San Francisco game because they did do it last night like 6-0. Here it has them winning 4-2. Tommy Milone doesn't have a lot of innings pitched. So he's got great numbers, but that makes things look a lot better for them. He's only got 4 innings so far this season, so this could be trickery. I noticed that the Dodgers did this too, is they named a different starter until just before the game because it screwed up their lines. They were putting one of their other pitchers in there, Hawk something Grove, Michael Grove maybe, a guy who's got an ERA of like 7 or 8. They kept listing him as the starter, and it would change the predictions on everything. And then they wouldn't start him. He didn't like come in the game at all. Very interesting, tricky move to do that. So you've got to pay attention to who's actually pitching. And it's one of the reasons why this is an imperfect science, because we're trying to get the most current information possible. But I'm not updating lineup changes as they go. I'm doing this once during the day and then providing it to you. So you really want to have the file yourself if you care to track it to get as current and as best information you can. So, well, all right, after all that, what do you do here? Well, Toronto, because the line is reasonable. So that's got to be one. Texas, because the line is reasonable. This margin is almost 10. Says Atlanta. It's starting to get into lines that are not great, but they are up there. So you can't ignore all of these. I want to take Oakland because I think that they can win games, and Detroit is not a good team. I see Oakland's plus 200. I want to take it. But Detroit will probably win that game. All right, that's about enough. I just wanted to give you all the look. You can go purchase copies of this if you want to use it yourself, or get access to the Google Sheet for free whenever I post it. All right, good luck. May all your picks be winning.